Emma Charlotte Dwyer Watson, born the 15th of April 1990, is a British actress, model, and activist. Watson rose to prominence as Hermione Granger in the Harry Potter film series, appearing in all 8 Harry Potter films from 2001 to 2011. Previously having acted only in school plays, the franchise earned Watson worldwide fame, critical accolades, and more than £10 million. She continued to work outside of the Harry Potter films, first lending her voice to the tale of Despereaux and appearing in the television adaptation of the novel Ballet Shoes. Since then, she has taken on starring roles in The Perks of Being a Wallflower and The Bling Ring, made a brief appearance as an exaggerated version of herself in This Is the End, and portrayed the title character's adopted daughter in Noah. From 2011 to 2014, Watson split her time between working on film projects and continuing her education, studying at Brown University and Oxford University and graduating from Brown with a bachelor's degree in English literature in May 2014. Her modeling work has included campaigns for Burberry and Lancome. As a fashion consultant, she helped create a line of clothing for People Tree. She was honored by the British Academy of Film and Television Arts in 2014, winning for British Artist of the Year. That same year, she was appointed as a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador and helped launch the UN Women campaign Heiferge, which calls for men to advocate gender equality. Early life. Watson was born in Paris, France, the daughter of English lawyers Jacqueline Lousby and Chris Watson. Watson lived in Paris until the age of 5. Her parents separated when she was young. Following their divorce, Watson moved back to England to live with her mother in Oxfordshire while spending weekends at her father's house in London. Watson has stated that she speaks some French, though not as well as she used to. After moving to Oxford with her mother and brother, she attended the Dragon School in Oxford, remaining there until 2003. From the age of 6, she wanted to become an actress, and trained at the Oxford branch of Stagecoach Theatre Arts, a part-time theatre school where she studied singing, dancing, and acting. By the age of 10, Watson had performed in various Stagecoach productions and school plays, including Arthur, The Young Years and The Happy Prince, but she had never acted professionally before the Harry Potter series. Following the Dragon School, Watson moved on to Headington School. While on film sets, she and her peers were tutored for up to 5 hours a day. In June 2006, she took GCSE school examinations in 10 subjects, achieving 8A** and 2A grades. Career 1999 to 2003, beginnings and breakthrough. In 1999, casting began for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, released as Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in the United States, the film adaptation of British author J.K. Rowling's best-selling novel. Casting agents found Watson through her Oxford theatre teacher, and producers were impressed by her confidence. After 8 auditions, producer David Heyman told Watson and fellow applicants Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint that they had been cast for the roles of the school friends Hermione Granger, Harry Potter and Ron Weasley, respectively. Rowling supported Watson from her first screen test. The release of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in 2001 was Watson's debut screen performance. The film broke records for opening day sales and opening weekend takings and was the highest-grossing film of 2001. Critics praised the performances of the 3 leads, often singling out Watson for particular acclaim. The Daily Telegraph called her performance admirable, and IGN said she stole the show. Watson was nominated for 5 awards for her performance in Philosopher's Stone, winning the Young Artist Award for Leading Young Actress. A year later, Watson again starred as Hermione in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the second installment of the series. Reviewers praised the lead actor's performances. The Los Angeles Times said Watson and her peers had matured between films, while the Times criticized director Chris Columbus for underemploying Watson's hugely popular character. Watson received an Otto Award from the German magazine Bravo for her performance. 2004 to 2011, continued success with Harry Potter and other roles. In 2004, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban was released. Watson was appreciative of the more assertive role Hermione played, calling her character charismatic and a fantastic role to play. Although critics panned Radcliffe's performance, labeling him wooden, they praised Watson. The New York Times lauded her performance, saying luckily Mr. Radcliffe's blandness is offset by Ms. Watson's spiky impatience. Harry may show off his expanding wizardly skills, but Hermione earns the loudest applause with a decidedly unmagical punch to Draco Malfoy's deserving nose. Although Prisoner of Azkaban proved to be the lowest-grossing Harry Potter film of the entire series, Watson's personal performance won her 2 Otto Awards and the Child Performance of the Year award from Total Film. With Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, 2005, both Watson and the Harry Potter film series reached new milestones. The film set records for a Harry Potter opening weekend, a non-May opening weekend in the US, and an opening weekend in the UK. Critics praised the increasing maturity of Watson and her teenage co-stars. The New York Times called her performance touchingly earnest. For Watson, much of the humor of the film sprang from the tension among the three lead characters as they matured. She said, "I loved all the arguing. I think it's much more realistic that they would argue and that there would be problems." Nominated for 3 awards for Goblet of Fire, Watson won a Bronze Otto Award. Later that year, Watson became the youngest person to appear on the cover of Teen Vogue, an appearance she reprised in August 2009. In 2006, Watson played Hermione in The Queen's Handbag, a special mini-episode of Harry Potter in celebration of Queen Elizabeth II's 80th birthday. The 5th film in the Harry Potter franchise, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, was released in 2007. A huge financial success, the film set a record worldwide opening weekend gross of $332.7 million. Watson won the inaugural National Movie Award for Best Female Performance. As the fame of the actress and the series continued, Watson and fellow Harry Potter co-stars Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint left imprints of their hands, feet and wands in front of Grauman's Chinese Theatre in Hollywood on 9 July 2007. By July 2007, Watson's work in the Harry Potter series was said to have earned her more than £10 million, and she acknowledged she would never have to work for money again. In March 2009, she was ranked 6th on the Forbes list of most valuable young stars, and in February 2010, she was named as Hollywood's highest-paid female star, having earned an estimated £19 million in 2009. Despite the success of Order of the Phoenix, the future of the Harry Potter franchise became surrounded in doubt, as all three lead actors were hesitant to sign on to continue their roles for the final 2 episodes. Radcliffe eventually signed for the final films on 2 March 2007, but Watson was considerably more hesitant. She explained that the decision was significant, as the films represented a further 4-year commitment to the role, but eventually conceded that she could never let role of Hermione go, signing for the role on 23 March 2007. Watson's first non-Potter role was the 2007 BBC film Ballet Shoes, an adaptation of the novel of the same title by Noel Streatfeild. The film's director, Sandra Goldbacher, commented that Watson was perfect for the starring role of aspiring actress Pauline Fossil. She has a piercing, delicate aura that makes you want to gaze at her. Ballet Shoes was broadcast in the UK on Boxing Day 2007 to an audience of 5.7 million viewers, to mixed reviews. Watson also lent her voice to the role of Princess P in the animated film The Tale of Despereaux, a children's comedy starring Matthew Broderick, with Harry Potter co-star Robbie Coltrane. Rubeus Hagrid, also starring in the film. The Tale of Despereaux was released in December 2008 and grossed $87 million worldwide. Principal photography for the 6th Harry Potter film began in late 2007, with Watson's part being filmed from the 18th of December to the 17th of May 2008. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince premiered on the 15th of July 2009, having been delayed from November 2008. With the lead actors now in their late teens, critics were increasingly willing to review them on the same level as the rest of the film's all-star cast, which the Los Angeles Times described as a comprehensive guide to contemporary UK acting. The Washington Post felt Watson to have given her most charming performance to date, while the Daily Telegraph described the lead actors as newly liberated and energized, eager to give all they have to what's left of the series. In December 2008, Watson stated she wanted to go to university after she completed the Potter series. Watson's filming for the final installment, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, began on the 18th of February 2009 and ended on the 12th of June 2010. For financial and scripting reasons, the original book was divided into 2 films which were shot consecutively. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1 was released in November 2010 while the second film was released in July 2011. She also appeared in a music video for One Night Only, after meeting lead singer George Craig at the 2010 Winter-Summer Burberry advertising campaign. The video, Say You Don't Want It, was screened on Channel 4 on the 26th of June 2010 and released on the 16th of August. In her first post-Harry Potter film, Watson appeared in 2011's My Week with Marilyn as Lucy, a wardrobe assistant who is flirted with by the main character, Colin Clark, and has a few dates with him. 2012 present. In May 2010, Watson was reported to be in talks to star in a film adaptation of The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Filming began in summer 2011 and the film was released in September 2012. In The Bling Ring, 2013, Watson stars as Nikki. The film is based on the real-life Bling Ring robberies, with Watson playing a fictionalized version of Alexis Nears, a television personality who was one of 7 teenagers involved in the robberies. While the film mostly received mixed reviews, critics gave gave almost unanimous praise for Watson's portrayal of Nikki in the film. Watson also had a supporting role in the apocalyptic comedy This Is the End, 2013, in which she, Seth Rogen, James Franco and many others played exaggerated versions of themselves, and Watson memorably dropped the F-bomb. She said she could not pass up the opportunity to make her first comedy and work with some of the best comedians in the world right now. In June 2012, Watson was confirmed for the role of Isla in Darren Aronofsky's Noah, which began filming the following month, and was released in March 2014. In March 2013, it was reported that Watson was in negotiations to star as the titular character in a live-action Disney adaptation of Cinderella. Kenneth Branagh was attached to direct the adaptation, while Cate Blanchett had reportedly agreed to play the evil stepmother. Watson was offered the role, but turned it down. Watson was attached in 2012 to the role of Emma Forrest in a film adaptation of her memoir Your Voice in My Head. At the time, Harry Potter director David Yates was attached. In a May 2013 interview, it appeared that Watson was no longer attached as the film's star. Stanley Tucci stated that the role would instead be played by Emily Blunt. However, by September 2013, it was confirmed that Watson was once again involved in the production in the role of Forrest, and that filming would begin in November that year with a new director, Francesca Gregorini. As of June 2013, Watson is set to work with Harry Potter producer David Heyman for her next film Queen of the Tearling, based on a yet-to-be-released book trilogy. She will lead the film as heroine Kelsey Glynn, as well as being an executive producer. Warner Brothers will distribute the film. It was reported in September 2013 that Watson would star in While We're Young, the film adaptation of Adina Halpern's 2010 novel 29, which focuses on a young at heart grandmother who would rather spend time with her granddaughter, Watson, than her daughter. The film will be directed by Stephen Chbosky, with whom Watson had collaborated on The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Watson also has been cast opposite Ethan Hawke in thriller Regression. Alejandro Amenabar wrote and will direct the film, which will be released in 2015. In October 2013, Watson was chosen as the Woman of the Year by British GQ. That same month she was one of 2 British actors to land atop a Redders poll of the sexiest movie stars of 2013, beating Scarlett Johansson and Jennifer Lawrence for the actress's title in an online poll of more than 50,000 film fans. Benedict Cumberbatch took the men's vote. Watson joined Judi Dench, Robert Downey Jr., Mike Leigh, Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Mark Ruffalo as recipients of the 2014 Britannia Awards, presented on the 30th of October in Los Angeles. Watson won for British Artist of the Year and dedicated her award to Millie, her pet hamster who died as Watson filmed Philosopher's Stone. 2015 releases in which Emma stars include Colonia, a thriller co-starring Daniel Bruhl and Michael Nyqvist. Watson will play Belle in a live-action adaptation of Beauty and the Beast opposite Dan Stevens as the Beast. She will sing in a film for the first time, which she called terrifying in and of itself. She also starred in Regression, a thriller released in August 2015, alongside Ethan Hawke and her Harry Potter colleague David Thewlis, and has signed up to star opposite Tom Hanks in the film adaptation of The Circle. Modeling and fashion. In 2005, Watson began her modeling career with a photo shoot for Teen Vogue and was the youngest star to grace its cover. 3 years later, the British press reported that Watson was to replace Keira Knightley as the face of the fashion house Chanel, but this was denied by both parties. In June 2009, following several months of rumors, Watson confirmed that she would be partnering with Burberry as the face of their autumn-winter 2009 campaign, for which she received an estimated 6-figure fee. She also appeared in Burberry's 2010 spring-summer campaign alongside her brother Alex, musicians George Craig and Matt Gilmore, and model Max Hurd. In February 2011, Watson was awarded the Style Icon Award from British Elle by Dame Vivienne Westwood. Watson continued her involvement in fashion advertising when she announced she had been chosen as the face of Lancôme in March 2011. In September 2009, Watson announced her involvement with People Tree, a fair trade fashion brand. Watson worked as a creative advisor for People Tree to create a spring line of clothing, which was released in February 2010. The range featured styles inspired by southern France and London. The collection, described by The Times as very clever despite their quiet hope that she would become tangled at the first hemp-woven hurdle, was widely publicized in magazines such as Teen Vogue, Cosmopolitan, and People. Watson, who was not paid for the collaboration, admitted that competition for the range was minimal, but argued that fashion is a great way to empower people and give them skills. Rather than give cash to charity, you can help people by buying the clothes they make and supporting things they take pride in, adding, I think young people like me are becoming increasingly aware of the humanitarian issues surrounding fast fashion and want to make good choices, but there aren't many options out there. Watson continued her involvement with People Tree, resulting in the release of a 2010 autumn-winter collection. Watson was awarded Best British Style at the 2014 British Fashion Awards. The competition included David Beckham, Amal Clooney and Keira Knightley. Education. After leaving school, Watson took a gap year to film Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows beginning in February 2009, but said she intended to continue her studies and later confirmed that she had chosen Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. In March 2011, after 18 months at the university, Watson announced that she was deferring her course for a semester or two, though she attended Worcester College, Oxford during the 2011-12 academic year as a visiting student. Watson told Ellen DeGeneres just before graduation that it took 5 years to finish instead of 4 because, due to her acting work, she ended up taking 2 full semesters off. On the 25th of May 2014, she graduated from Brown University with a bachelor's degree in English literature. In 2013, she became certified to teach yoga and meditation. As part of this certification, she attended a week-long meditation course at a Canadian facility, in which residents are not allowed to speak, in order to figure out how to be at home with myself. She told Elle Australia that an uncertain future meant finding a way to always feel safe and at home within myself, because I can never rely on a physical place. Personal life. Watson met and started dating fellow Oxford student Will Adamovich in 2011. During her first year at the university, he accompanied her to the 2013 MTV Movie Awards, where she was given the Trailblazer Award. The couple split up in early 2014. Later in 2014, Watson began dating Oxford rugby player Matthew Janney. The relationship ended in November. A spokesman for Watson said the split was due to her unrelenting work schedule. While working on the film Noah, Watson was questioned about her faith, and she described herself as a spiritual universalist. Women's rights work. Watson has promoted education for girls, visiting Bangladesh and Zambia to do so. In July 2014, she was appointed as a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador. In September that year, an admittedly nervous Watson delivered an address at UN headquarters in New York City to launch the UN Women Campaign Heffersh, which calls for men to advocate for gender equality. In that speech she said she began questioning gender-based assumptions at age 8 when she was called bossy, a trait she has attributed to her being a perfectionist, whilst boys were not, and at 14 when she was sexualized by certain elements of the press. Watson's speech also called feminism the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities and declared that the perception of man-hating is something that has to stop. Watson later said she received threats within 12 hours of making the speech, which left her raging. If they were trying to put me off doing this work, it did the opposite. In 2015, Malala Yousafzai told Watson she decided to call herself a feminist after hearing Watson's speech. Also in September, Watson made her first country visit as a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador to Uruguay, where she gave a speech highlighting the need for women's political participation. In December, the Ms. Foundation for Women named Watson its Feminist Celebrity of 2014 following an online poll. Watson also gave a speech about gender equality in January 2015, at the World Economic Forum's annual winter meeting. Watson took the top spot on the Ask Men Top 99 Outstanding Women 2015 list on the strength of having thrown her back into women's rights issues. The day after she turned 25, Watson placed number 26 on the Time 100 list of the world's most influential people, her first ever appearance on the list. For its recap, former New York Times editor Jill Abramson noted Watson's gutsy, smart take on feminism and called the effort to get men involved refreshing. Filmography, awards and nominations.